Hello and welcome to the first ever Mewtwo Bros podcast. Today, my brother and I are going to be looking into Evolving Skies and kind of figuring out if, this is something that will be a good investment for your average Pokemon collector.
Yep, and this has been a long time in the making. We're super excited to kind of kick off this series on our YouTube. And, why not start it off with something or a set like Evolving Skies where, when you have it in front of you, you really want to rip it, but is it worth it? Is it worth the hold? So those are some things that we're going to dive in today and look at some charts and some data as well.
Perfect. And, for those of you who are new to our channel, we mainly have shorts up right now. We do pretty much product openings and we kind of dive in. You can kind of see for yourself, which packs are located in which product. And now we're going to transition more into, full-fledged YouTube videos and kind of discussing, booster boxes, separate cards, individual cards, things like that. So let's get it started. So Evolving Skies, my brother and I kind of like using price charting. We know it's not, the most trusted source for Pokemon information as of now. A lot of people use TCG Player, but the thing about price charting that we like a lot is that they actually have price charts. And so we think that's important, and that's important to note. So if you're one of those people that are going to complain, that's honestly fine, because we like using price charting. So we'll get this started off. We have Evolving Skies loaded up into price charting, and we have the filter on here from high to low. And so first, we're going to go look into just the regular booster box.
Now, the booster box is something that we've actually invested in as of recent. I think we're actually probably close to a year from when we bought two of them at $400 a piece from a local card shop near us. But obviously in the last couple months, things have definitely changed. But when you look at the data overall, you can see that this box in price has been rising.
Yeah, well, I must say, I think we bought it in October, so it's not a full year. And I think they were $450 a piece, but as we can see today, price charting has them at 661.4. And the way that they got this data was through all of these sales. And it has the sources as well. And so this essentially is just pulling from eBay at the moment, which, is fine. It's not perfect data, but it's kind of the best that we have so far. All of the dates here, it looks like all these most recent ones are from, this month, April. And so let's see kind of what these have been selling for on eBay. All right, so the most recent date was the 22nd. We have 657. On the same day, we have 750, 660, 647, 731, 650, 627. And then just, in the preceding weeks before that, or a week before that, they range in the 650 back to the 700, 770 range. And it's been pretty consistent over the month of April, I would say. What do you think too, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with this set too, and we're going to dive into it, as this video kind of progresses, but there are just so many cool cards in this set. A lot of vintage Pokemon from the early generations, a lot of fan favorite Pokemons as well. Obviously there's the Moonbreon card in here, Rayquaza, and, all the evolutions. So, when we start diving into that, you'll kind of see why this set has stayed consistent in price and why it's consistently going up as well.
All right, so if we look at this chart here, the earliest data that we have is March of 2022. And so, we have Bulbapedia loaded up here. Shout out Bulbapedia for those OG Pokemon people. I'm sure you've used Bulbapedia for all of your guides, whether you're playing Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, literally Soul Silver, Heart Gold. We use Bulbapedia all the time. And so I find it's a pretty trustworthy source. So the actual release date is August 27, 2021 for the English set. So let's keep in mind that this, hasn't been keeping track from the very, very beginning, but, it's fine. I think it's a good starting point. And so we can see here in March 2022, started off at, 140 and it kind of fluctuated up to like the 170, 140, 155, 162 mark. And I just want to note that for those of you who do collect, like the average booster box we see that comes out, like this is essentially what the prices are, between like $130 to like $170, $80, depending on where you're buying your booster boxes from. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, and it does depend on the set too. I know that sets like Obsidian Flames, they drop pretty quick right off the bat. I'm actually not sure what they're looking at now. We can probably make a video on that set as well. But, there are certain sets that come out where, you either have a really good gut feeling that these sets are going to continue to rise. And, that's why people invest their money and buy them right off the bat. Some people wait to see what happens and then they end up buying them. But, I know just for this set, just the thought of being able that, at one point you could have bought this at 140, it kind of makes you, think like, damn, maybe I should have gone and bought them back in the day. But, you really never know. And that kind of goes with every set. And, if you did buy this back when it was at that market price of like 130, 140, then you're definitely happy today if you ended up holding on to them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. My brother and I are definitely kicking ourselves in the nuts for not investing in this sooner. Like we mentioned before, we did end up buying these at $450 a pop for 2 booster boxes back in October. So let's just take a look at this chart here. So from March 2022, kind of following up into the end of 2022, we can see that it actually hits to like 286.61 in December 2022, and so that right there is something that we don't really see at all, like in any modern sets. Within like a year of the release date, a little bit more than a year, we don't really see it hitting almost $300.
Definitely not that quick. Like you said, typically it takes some time for sets to gain that kind of value, and I'm trying to think of another set recently that had this kind of spike or jump, and I really can't think of one right now. But and the growth just going forward too, and then the months to come when we start scrolling on that too is just keeps getting crazier. And and if we're talking about investing, it's always like, should I buy now? Should I sell? What should I do? And it's tough when you see a graph like this. Like, should you ever sell? And I feel like, it's really tough, especially inside like any kind of Pokemon set, any type of set like this, especially with really cool cards.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point for those people that follow the stock market, watch CNBC. That any upwards trend that looks like this with very limited dips, this is an incredible chart just to even look at. In terms of January 2023, it's already at 338.79, which is pretty bananas. And you can see it's essentially steady almost this entire time. We have a small dip here from January 23 to February 23 of like almost $10, and that's that's insane for dips, because you can see here that it just continues to rise and rise. June 23 continues to rise almost at $400, still going up. July 23 $401, still going up. It actually has like a $3 dip between August and September, but that's almost like a negligible dip.
Yeah, and especially with just pulling. Most of the pulling from prices comes from eBay too, so you do kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, like you said, a $3 dip, and once we keep going even further, that's when things start to get pretty crazy in my opinion. And I don't know exactly what the major thing that happened that made it jump so high, but if you wanted to scroll over there, it takes a little dip right here, but then things start to get crazy, and I'll let Kondo talk about that a little more.
Yeah, so we see a tiny dip from November 23 into December 23, and it's just a dip of like $27. So it actually looks like we ended up buying at a pretty good time here. And so after December 2023, it's just going to skyrocket like $50 within a month, which is pretty bananas. And then it even shoots up from 452 to 529 from January to February. I don't know if people got some extra, holiday money or what's going on, or maybe the economy's not doing strong, so people want to invest, into different types of things other than just like the US dollar. But we have an incredible price jump from December 23 up until March 24. It literally goes from 402 to 667, and then it has like a little $6 drop off here in April.
And I mean, I feel like with any stocks too, when you hit that high of a peak, I feel like people are going to start selling them, and that the market kind of drops forward. But at the same time, it's like whenever there has been a dip, it's a good dip where it continuously rises after that. And I mean, who knows if all the streamers on Whatnot play into it to where more of the Pokemon community is getting involved, and it's so easy to get access to these packs, to these cards now, especially online, especially with Whatnot, things like that. So I mean, basically the only thing that I can say is that the only explanation for why this set keeps rising is because of the cards inside of them, which we're going to take a look at.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? We're going to do that in a minute. I guess a good point that you brought up is that it is in a slight dip right now, very slight dip. But, as we can see from the full chart, these dips have been very short and very subtle. And so it could potentially, even though they've skyrocketed so much, it could actually still be a good buy at this point, only because the data over the last couple years, it's been a continuous upwards trend in the long term.
Right.
And so, I mean, if you're going to try and flip these boxes, maybe it's not the best idea. But if you come into this with a long-term investor mindset and you're going to hold on to this, for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, I think it's definitely not too late to start buying these.
Well, that's the thing too, is like, when's the right time to sell them? I mean, there's no indication. I mean, obviously this set's still a little newer, but I mean, there's no indication of it, kind of plateauing. It keeps going up, and it's like, and that's what's always tough with investing, no matter what you're investing in, is like, is there a right time to sell? And then also, it's also kind of like when, in Spider-Man, when the Green Goblin has his mask next to him and you coward, like, rip it, So, like, for me, it's like, those booster boxes are sitting there, and I think the only credible advice I could give is don't rip them if you are holding on to them. In my opinion, it's, you either gotta hold on to it or you either gotta sell it, and I just personally wouldn't rip them. There's still some products out there on the market too where, if you wanted to rip a couple of Evolving Skies packs, you can find them in some products still being sold today in Walmart, CVS, things like that. So if you have a booster box, I mean, just my opinion, I wouldn't open it. Now, if you want to sell it or if you want to buy into it now, that's totally on you. But my advice is definitely do not rip a booster box.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a plan that a lot of people have. The only real way that you're going to get your money back is if you kind of hit that Moonbreon, and the odds of that are so slim. And so, I mean, if you want to do that and you're just a collector and you don't really care about investing in Pokemon, hey, that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. With us, we do want to invest a little bit. And then, yeah, also one thing to talk about as well is you mentioned that you don't really see this going down, and it's all supply and demand, right? And so apparently the supply is limited. Like, they're not issuing any more Evolving Skies, and so the only thing you have to worry about is demand. So is the demand going to stay high for Evolving Skies booster boxes? And personally, this isn't a fact, but I believe Pokemon is going to survive in the next 10, 20 years. Pokemon fans like us who grew up playing the games, watching the TV show, people are giving their kids Pokemon cards, and I see it all the time on Instagram, and people are raising their children with Pokemon in their lives, and those kids, just like us when we were kids, they're going to grow up remembering Pokemon and ripping packs with their family and their dad. And so, in my opinion, I don't ever see Pokemon dying in the near future. It's possible, but if I were to put my money on it, I would say Pokemon is going to survive for a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it too. I mean, Apple just released emulators on the iPhone too, to where now kids, if you have a phone, all you got to do is download an emulator, and next thing you know, you're playing Pokemon Ruby, Pokemon Sapphire, getting a whole new generation hooked. And I feel like over the last 20-something years, Pokemon's done a great job of staying relevant. But especially with a set like this, regardless of it, just the nostalgia factor of the cards that are in this set that we'll jump into too, where they are fan favorite Pokemon in there, and there are some really cool cards, really cool artwork. Of course, Evolving Skies has the yellow borders as well in the cards, something that's recently gone away. So they already kind of have a nostalgic piece to it just from that as well.
Yeah, perfect. So let's kind of go into the individual cards themselves. This kind of plays into the demand staying high, in my opinion. And so one reason why we think that this set is going to, survive for a long time is because the individual cards are so cool. And the Pokemon are such classics. Like, there's not a ton of new Pokemon that people don't recognize. Like, the most expensive card, ungraded, $667. PSA 10 over $1,200 is the Umbreon VMAX. And this card is just an absolute beauty. If you're a Pokemon fan, you know which card this is. And these prices that it's going for, I don't know any other modern card that is exploding like this.
No.
We have recent sale prices of $520, $725, $754, $775, $750, $720. And so this card is definitely the staple of this set.
And what's crazy too is that I think that when this set came out, when they made this set, it almost seems like Rayquaza was supposed to be the chase card, just based on the wrapper they have. And we can probably look at that too, but I believe on the wrapper it says, something about Rayquaza ruling the sky, things like that. But when a card like the Moonbreon comes around, everyone wants it, and that's the reason why people are ripping these packs. It's almost like playing the lottery, where if you pull this card, you're good, and you probably relieve that itch and that addiction of opening these packs. But yeah, Umbreon, Umbreon itself is one of the most, popular favorite Pokemons. I feel like, up there with like Gengar. I guess you could even say Pikachu, things like that. But just a cool Pokemon in general, amazing artwork, and this is a card that I can only see getting more and more expensive as the years go on. But what do you think, Kondo?
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a good point about how you even think that the Rayquaza is even harder to pull than the Moonbreon. And so, we go to Reddit here. I don't know how trustworthy this is, but I'm going to trust it. Okay, I don't know why, but, I think Reddit's a good source of information. And this says that this pull data is from 10,000 packs opened. And so let's check out the numbers here. And so you're right. The Moonbreon is 1 in 1,666, and it actually is less than the Rayquaza, the Glaceon, and the Leafeon, which to me is surprising, but it is such a beautiful card. The hardest card to pull actually is the Rayquaza VMAX, which you need to open over 2,000 packs on average to actually pull this.
Which we got very lucky in pulling this. Probably within our first 50 packs of Evolving Skies that we've opened, we got blessed with pulling this card. It's definitely one of the coolest cards that we've pulled, and that's actually, you could probably find it on our Instagram as well. But yeah, just in general, I always think too, will the Moonbreon always be the most expensive? I don't know exactly how much, the chase cards fluctuate if one takes over the other, but I could see, in 5 years, 6 years, that Rayquaza card potentially even dethroning the Moonbreon just based on the pull rate. Even if you tap into Whatnot every once in a while, you'll see a Moonbreon get pulled. I can't recall seeing a Rayquaza getting pulled, and, I'm sure people out there probably have seen it happen, but me personally, everyone's chasing that Moonbreon. A lot of people hold on to it for a long time. It's almost like saying, look what I got. This is one of the coolest cards I own, but not many people, I feel like, I really don't see that many people talking about the Rayquaza and really showing that one off. But and unfortunately, we really haven't had too much success pulling, most of these cards. I think we got blessed with the Rayquaza, but and that's the other thing too, is that obviously, it'd be great to pull one of these other cards too, but it's also like, do I want to keep ripping these and playing the lottery?
Yeah, like you mentioned, like within our first 50 Evolving Skies packs, we did pull the Rayquaza. I think it was out of an Umbreon V Heroes tin from Walmart. And yeah, we just got extremely lucky with that. And we've probably opened like 200 Evolving Skies packs since getting that Rayquaza, and we haven't pulled any of these rest of these top cards. And so sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get unlucky. I think at this point we're gonna stop ripping packs just because we've been losing a lot of money on it. And so yeah, I mean, we got lucky once, and then I think we're just gonna leave it off of there. And so let's go back to these top cards. I think another big reason why this set does so well is because there are so many cards that are over $100 in the ungraded price, and so or close to $100. So let's do a counter here. We have Umbreon VMAX, we have Rayquaza VMAX, that's 2. We have Leafeon VMAX 3, Umbreon V 4, Glaceon VMAX 5, Sylveon VMAX 6. Then we have Dragonite V 7, just at $100. And then there's also the Umbreon VMAX prize pack. So is that at 8 right now?
That's at 8. I don't know if you can you pull that though? I don't think you can. I think that's...
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't think you can pull this either. The prize pack, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but maybe we can go figure out after this video. It feels like you were supposed to win this or something from
right.
like a tournament or something along those lines. But then we also have 2 other cards that are close to that $100 threshold. We have Rayquaza V194. We also have Espeon V180. And so overall, there's just so many bangers in this set, so many heavy hitters. And so, I mean, if you did decide you wanted to rip this set, I wouldn't even blame you, because there are so many cool cards if you're just a collector.
Yeah, I feel like too, like even with more vintage sets, obviously predating 2021, when you start getting into 2010, 2011, like some of those sets don't have these many cards that are either 100 or close to 100 ungraded. And typically you see a very big drop off too. You don't see this many cards in the 40s and the 30s, like even in the 20s, like the amount of $20 to $50 cards is still pretty high. You have rainbows in the set.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you have multiple Umbreon cards. You have multiple evolution cards that might not be a top 10 card, but they're still pricing pretty high. I will say that I feel like the pull rates in the packs are definitely tough. I feel like it's either you pull a banger or you don't pull anything, it feels like. I mean, I compare it to playing the lottery whenever we open these packs. It feels almost impossible. I don't even know in our 200 packs if we've pulled one rainbow. Have we? Maybe 1 or 2?
I don't think so.
Which is crazy, because look how many rainbows there are.
I mean, yeah, they call it evolving cries for a reason, right?
Yeah, for real. And I mean, we've witnessed it firsthand, and we've gotten lucky too as well. But I think this just shows, why this set keeps on rising. And I feel like, with a lot of these cards, especially the top cards, they're just going to be harder and harder to find as the years go on. And, personally, and I guess I would say in conclusion, but, this is a set where I would say this is a great investment, personally, just because the cards in it, the data shows that it's just been consistently going up. Even if there's small dips, it keeps going up. But just as a Pokemon fan in general, if you look at these cards, the artwork is incredible. There's rainbows. It's a very fun set.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all fantastic points. And, we chose this set as our first video because we think it is the best modern set to invest in. And, for some people, this is going to be like too expensive to buy a booster box, which is totally fine. We're adults now. And so finally we're able to kind of invest in Pokemon the way we wanted to when we were kids.
And luckily we can split it with two people. It's not just one of us, dropping 400, 450 when we originally bought them. So
that's true.
But yeah, I mean, in general too, like even if you want to scroll up really quick, like even if you click on that Espeon V,
this one,
180, yeah. Now, like, look at the artwork on that card. A lot of these cards just have such cool artwork, and they're titled Basic V cards with like the silver border. But the thing with these cards is that like it's got a couple more dips than the booster box, but in general, it looks like these cards probably won't dip under what was that dip you have over here?
For which one?
If you go a little more right.
Oh, for the dip?
Yeah. Like I can't see this card probably, going under $54 again. Realistically. I mean, just especially with how the prices have been rising with the booster box. Like this is something where, is this a top 10 card? It might be close to the top 10, but it's like, even a card this low down the list is still a great card, which you don't really get to see a lot in other sets.
Yeah, those are all great points. I think this is number 9, and the artwork is beautiful here. I guess we haven't really gone into too many individual cards themselves. I guess we haven't really opened up this Rayquaza, right? This artwork is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if we can zoom in there anymore, but Rayquaza flying over the trees. In person, this is such a shiny card, such a holographic card. That card's incredible. I've seen the Leafeon VMAX be pulled a few times. This card is awesome too. Just extremely extremely shiny. What is he doing? He's just blowing a bale.
It just looks like a massive
bale of hay.
Yeah, like massive Leafeon. Like that thing looks huge. Look at the trees behind it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, in general too, even with newer sets coming out and stuff, there's always going to be some cool cards. These ones, in my opinion, just really hit different. The fact that their main focus is evolutions and everyone's artwork are just completely different. Like if you pull up like Glaceon.
Really quickly, I just want to mention this card's interesting because over like a 2-year span, it's stayed relatively flat, which is fine. I mean, you're not going to have the huge upwards trending curve like the booster boxes for individual cards, and so I think the best investment would be the booster box as opposed to maybe the Leafeon. But which card did you want to see? The Glaceon?
Yeah, the Glaceon. Because look at that artwork too. Like you got Pikachu in there. It looks like another massive Pokemon. Glaceon. Look how big Glaceon looks. I mean, in general, hopefully if we do continue ripping these at some point, I know that we're gonna eventually have that urge or that itch again to rip. I'm hoping that we pull one of these, main evolution cards. But yeah, I mean, and look at the data on that too. If these cards stay consistent around 155, you're going to be happy no matter what. As long as they don't drop too much. If you got multiple cards in the set over the years staying over $100, then in my opinion, that's a great set to invest in because they'll probably just keep going up realistically once you hit, the 5-year, the 10-year mark. I can just see them, consistently, hopefully going up. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think those are all great points, and because the pricing is staying, so consistent over time, I guess there really isn't like a really good or bad time to buy this. Like if you really like this card, you might as well just buy it because the price isn't going up or down like tremendously. Like it's staying pretty consistent over like a 2-year period. So yeah, I think those are all great points. The last thing I want to touch on, I think, is just the booster pack price.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Because the individual booster pack price has been skyrocketing as of recently. So right now it's at $25.39 for an ungraded booster pack price, which
Is that correct? I feel like last time we looked, it was like 15, but I mean, who knows with the spike recently?
Yeah, it's been fluctuating like crazy. So let's take a look at these most recent sale dates. So we had someone buy one for $27 on eBay, $21.
You got to keep in mind too, they're saying heavy on there. Can you even weigh this set, or is that just people getting scammed?
I don't think you can. Yeah, wait. Where does it say that? Heavy
that?
Evolving
Yeah.
Skies booster pack. I don't think you can weigh this set. That is 21.9, 21.7. I don't think the weights actually matter because of the code cards, right? For these modern sets.
They have the white and black code cards, which I think the white ones are supposed to throw off the weight, and they're not going to have hits in them most of the time. So always be careful when you're buying and do your research on eBay, especially with these, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it was closer to $15 for pack value.
Yeah, I know. My brother and I, we have a local CVS pharmacy, here in Chicago, and they were selling Evolving Skies blisters plus one more Chilling Rain pack behind it, and they were selling those for like $13.
Right.
And at this point, my brother and I'm pretty sure we bought them all out. So if you live in Chicago, I don't think you're gonna be able to find this anymore. Sorry guys, but yeah, let's take a look at these recent prices here. So this is someone sold a PSA 10 pack for $159, which to me seems pretty wild.
That's crazy.
That is crazy in my opinion, but if someone's buying it for that much, maybe we should start getting our Evolving Skies packs graded and selling those. I mean, that is pretty nuts. So yeah, people are selling them, and they have the weights on here. If we're wrong about the weights and you can weigh them, someone please let us know. But
yeah, correct us in the comments below if you can weigh them. But I always thought that anything when the code cards can be either white or black, I thought that eliminated basically the weight.
That's what I thought too. I didn't think that you could successfully weigh these and get your chase card, but we're always open to get corrected. So people out there listening and watching, if we're wrong about that, let us know. So yeah, I mean, I guess people are selling these weighed, which is interesting. So maybe that's why the price here is so high, because people are selling weighed packs. There is a new factory sealed pack that's sold for $8 here. And so, yeah, these prices are all over the board. So just be careful. Maybe a good thing to point out is that maybe the booster box prices on price charting are a lot more credible, because I didn't see any weights on those booster boxes themselves, right?
No, I don't think that's something that, I mean, who knows? I'm sure that there's some people who are going to be looking and weighing everything, but I mean, personally, this is a set where personally, just from what I've seen, I've never seen, people weighing them on whatnot. I've never seen, people, if they're buying them, trying to weigh them at the store, things like that. I mean, this is a set where, if you're going to buy it, you got to know what you're going to be doing with it. You're going to rip it, you're going to hold it, you're going to resell it, things like that. I mean, I would not personally... Unless I'm wrong, again, you can comment under and let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't think this is a set you can weigh.
Well, I mean, especially because if you have 36... Well, I mean, at least for a booster box, if you have 36 packs in a booster box, that's going to average out in the weight anyways. There's going to be some heavy packs, some light packs, and so I don't even... it's not even possible to weigh out the booster box. But yeah, looking at these single pack weights are interesting. I wonder if people are just getting scammed online.
It could be, and again, that's why you should always do your own research too. See, and it's tough always. You don't know where like the right sources are. You can check TCG, you can check here. I know that like personally, I really don't use price charting when looking at just normal packs, because they can be all over the place. That price gets influenced by that $159 PSA 10, things like that. So. It's I really like using price charting for single cards and booster boxes. I feel like that's more credible, but either way, just do your own research before you go out there and buy supposed heavy Evolving Skies pack.
Very true. All good points. And we are at 35 minutes, so I think this could conclude our first ever Mewtwo Bros podcast. For anyone out there watching, if people are even going to be watching this, since this is our first video, we are open to any and all feedback. If you guys liked something that we touched on, please let us know, and then we'll keep doing that. If you guys didn't like something that we did or said, or a topic we touched on, let us know too. We're open to evolving, we're open to growing, and we're open to making this channel about what people want to actually see.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll get better with time too as we continue doing these. But also let us know if there's any suggestions on what you want us to cover, what you want us to dive into. As always, like Kondo said, always open to suggestions for whatever it may be. If we were wrong on something, let us know. But we appreciate everyone who did tune in and stayed for this long as well. But we'll be back soon with another set to dive into.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to cap it off. All right, thank you guys so much.